Hello, hikers. Green Giant here, one of your hosts. If you're listening to this show on the day that it's released, Merry Christmas. It's December 25th, 2018, exactly 1 year since we released our first episode. For this episode, we're going to go back to November, in which we conducted a Discord hangout with a very famous hiker, a guy who goes by the name of Guthook. Guthook is famous for making the app that most people use to navigate many of the long trails, not just in the U.S., but around the world. We had a very fun conversation with him. And as we've been doing lately, the Stories from the Trail listening audience has been joining in and either being part of the conversation or just listening live as we record on Discord. For this episode with Guthook, people started showing up a little bit early, so we open with hanging out with Crazy Larry, proprietor of the Crazy Larry Hostel in Damascus, Virginia. Eventually other people join the conversation. Once Guthook gets in, things really get going. So here we go. Sit back, relax, and get ready. This is Stories from the Trail.
Making a few changes here.
How you got a full house tonight? You got anybody staying with you?
No, but I've had pretty regular flow here lately.
You've been getting plenty of southbounders, I bet.
I'm getting some southbounders. I'm getting some broke ones. They're not really broke. I mean, they got enough money and stuff. But if I can help them out, I will a little bit.
Well, by the time you've gone through the northern half of the trail, regardless of which direction you're going, you spend a lot of money up there.
Yeah.
At least that's how
you
I
sure do. And when you get down here in the southern part, it's the same way with the people on the Trans-American Bicycle Route that comes through here as well. If they're going east, by the time they get here, they're strapping on funds. A lot of them, and they just want to. There's a lot of people out here didn't have enough money to begin with, and they've managed to work their way down a little bit here and there. And boy, their minds are set to getting the job done. So if we got I got a hiker supply box that I've been trying to get people. People have been sending me food today. Somebody sent me a box of food. It was awesome, man. I put it over there. Didn't have any name on it. Cool.
I was gonna say, I just saw a picture you posted on your Facebook page there the other day. The thing was overflowing with goodies.
Yeah. In fact, I had a woman. I don't want this to be about me now. Hold on here. He was going to interview Guthook anyway. We can talk about me some other time.
Oh no, I don't mind. We're just hanging out. That's what we do before we start. In fact, I was.
Okay. We just talk.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
I'm happy to listen. It's good to hear you, Larry.
Is that Guthook?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. Okay, I see how it works. I see when the names light up, that's when you're yapping, huh?
Yeah, that's the yap light.
Yeah, that's the yap light. That's pretty cool. Now, so tell me about this app I downloaded. I mean, I don't understand it all. Did you create this? Green Giant?
What are you talking about? Discord?
Yeah, what is Discord here? It's just all it is just a channel or something to be able to do this, kind of like be able to do live.
Yeah, if I created Discord, I'd be doing something else for a living right now.
Okay, stupid question. I know it was.
I'd be out in my garage right now counting my Ferraris. I don't know how's Discord doing. Are they doing pretty good as a company? Does anybody know? I don't know.
I've never heard of them before you.
Yeah, so this is like teleconference, man. Cool.
You know what? That's exactly what this is like.
Except it actually seems to work, which is the difference.
Exactly. I've been on teleconference calls before, and it's like, way in and out,
I'm trying to picture what kind of job Crazy Larry had that involves teleconferencing.
Oh shoot, man! I thought I was highfalutin and stuff. I was making a lot of money, But
Mountain Gazelle says Discord is probably doing well. There you
yeah, yeah. Hey, Fish Hook.
go.
Fish Hook ain't on there yet. He needs to get on there.
Now recording.
That sounds like a robot.
Oh, hey, Fishhook. Hey, what's up, man? Fishhook is here.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Fish Hook.
You see who that is?
Hey, Daniel.
No, that's not Daniel.
Who is it?
Crazy Larry.
Crazy Larry, man. Had a good time hanging out at your hostel.
Well, I can't. You have to remind me who you are.
Oh, well, just one of the crazy kids.
Yeah.
he was one of those guys that just wandered on through. All right.
Okay. Stories on Fit. Stories from the tree.
Oh man! All right, so I just got this. I sent Megan a text message just a little bit ago that said Crazy Larry is on our Discord channel right now with a surprised face, and about 20 minutes went by with no reply, and then I just got this message from Megan. It says, "OMG, it's Wednesday. Are we scheduled to record?" ? So. Yeah, so of course I told her, yes, we're recording right now. She said she just got home from work, so she's going to grab her computer and get to her desk, and she's going to be here any minute now. All right. Hey, hey Ryan, let's do this while we're waiting for Megan to get here and get this thing started. There's quite a few, not to say quite a few people on the line. There's a few people on the line tonight. And we are also simultaneously conducting an AMA on Reddit while we record.
What is the AMA?
Well, we're going to explain that here in a second, Crazy Larry. An AMA stands for Ask Me Anything. And this is the ultimate crowdsourced interview, and it's usually just people typing on a screen. So the AMA is usually just people writing their questions and you writing their answers. So what we're going to do, we're going to get your AMA started here. And what the way it usually works is, okay, we're going to start by going to I assume, okay, so here's one of the questions I probably should have asked a long time ago. You're at
What's a computer?
You're at a computer, right?
What's that?
You're at a, I mean, I assume, I would, assume that one of the, most well-known hiking app developers, did you actually code your own app or did you just design the thing?
I code
You're a coder.
all of the iPhone stuff.
Okay. All right. So navigating Reddit should be trivial for you. And just, for the benefit of people who don't know what Reddit is, I don't know how many people don't, but
I'm going to be on the phone for a minute.
Okay. Hey, Larry, do you know how to work the mute button on your microphone?
Wait. Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, let me hit that. Wait just a minute. I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did I hit that? Okay, the mute.
There you go.
There we go. You did it.
This adds just a whole new dimension.
Because once you hit the mute button, you can't be like, "Hey, is it working?"
Oh, geez, what are we doing here? Okay, so we're going to Reddit. For people who don't know what Reddit is, it is the self-proclaimed front page of the internet. And the way it works is pretty much anybody can post anything they want to Reddit. And if people like what you posted, they'll click an arrow to give you an up vote. And if they don't like what you post, they'll click the down button. You know how people always say, "Oh, I wish Facebook had an unlike button." Reddit has an unlike button, and what happens is the posts that get the most upvotes kind of float to the top of the page because they're the most, things that people say, "Hey, this is interesting," or "This is funny," or "This is something people might want to see." And if you're, like mean or a jerk or unhelpful or something like that, people will click that down button, and it kind of filters out all of the nastiness that you get on most social forums. Now you can still find some pretty twisted stuff on Reddit, but you have to, just like life, you have to go looking for that stuff. So one of the things that I do in addition to,
always finds me.
What's that? Say again.
It always just finds me.
You attract it. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the interesting part of the show so there's going to be parts of the show where we're just typing and it's going to be quiet and boring. And this is the part where I encourage you guys to sing and dance among yourselves. Of course, the dancing doesn't really help much.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Oh yeah, so I'm there, and
so
do I want to submit a text or a link?
You want to submit a text post. All right, so you want your subject to be one of those things that I put in the email there.
All right, and blah, 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 blah. I'll put the link in there.
Yep. And for those of you who want to virtually read over our shoulders, I sent Ryan an email earlier with some sample subjects for his AMA, including here's the one I like. I am Guthook. I tell people where to go. AMA.
I wish I.
You have to say it like this. You have to say, I am Guthook. You go where I say. AMA.
I'll just go ahead and submit this now, and bang, there it is.
Okay. Did you put did you put something in the body of the post?
Why, yes, I did.
Oh, cool.
So where can you view this AMA at?
All right. So for those of you who are on the line right now, I'm going to put a link to it in the Discord.
Let me make sure I'm not using my furry enthusiast account on Reddit.
Can everybody hear me?
Oh, hi, Megan.
Oh.
Hey, 10-minute turnaround time. That's not too bad.
That's really good for a surprise. Hey, jump on your computer. We're recording.
Well, I did come in the driveway.
Hey, man, let's say it.
Pretty hot on two wheels.
What the hell am I doing?
All right, so here we go. I'm going to put this in our chat as a link that will take you directly to Guthook's AMA. So now what happens is Guthook just posted this in Reddit, and it basically says, "Hey, I'm here to answer your questions." And
Jesus Christ, fuck this goddamn man. I'm sorry. I can't get in. It won't let me in. Screw it. I don't know how to do the damn thing.
Well, that's all right, because we're gonna all the fun is gonna happen here. All the fun's gonna happen over here, Larry. We don't need to.
Okay. Yeah. I won't need that anyway. Huh? I don't know why I was going over. I just thought maybe you guys had a computer thing too, where we could just. But we can type right here and shoot the shit right here.
That's right. We're gonna have a grand old time doing it.
Discord is for.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Were you trying to have some sort of structure? Did you want to start the show or something?
I'm trying so hard. I'm trying so hard right now. Ryan,
I'll try to let you go.
It's fine. I was going to say we actually do have some structure. I actually do have a list of questions, and at some point we're going to say who you are and get you to tell a story or two. But
okay.
The way, not talking to you, Larry. I'm still not talking to you, Larry. But one of the analogies I like to use is that here at.
They're not talking to me. Oh shit!
Good Lord,
this is fun.
Here at here at the Green Giant Daycare Center, we like to get recess out of the way before we actually start class, so that the show actually becomes more boring and less interesting as time progresses. No, I'm just kidding. Speaking of interruptions and off topic, Daniel is here.
Woohoo! Hey, you know what I found on top of my car when I got out of work?
What's that, sir?
What's that, Daniel?
A mustache comb. Someone put a mustache comb on the hood of my car. I think
you need to grow a mustache again.
Oh God, it'll take a while.
Are you trying to tell us that
telling you to get on it?
All right. Such a hassle. I hate facial hair.
Was it on your postal truck, or your postal vehicle?
No, on my car when I came out from work. There was it was like a switchblade mustache comb.
Yeah. Someone needs.
Those of you who don't know, Daniel used to look like he's always about to start a game of fisticuffs.
Carney folk. I look like Carney folk.
It was a perfect mustache.
It was okay. I did that picture right before I shaved it, actually. But
a great mustache.
You want the listicle? Is that what you're calling for, Gary?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. So,
did you want to say something?
Who, me?
Constructive?
Who, me? So we've got a 3-ring circus happening tonight.
Circus?
Yeah, there's a 3-ring circus going on, and Guthook, you're in the center ring. In fact, we're really expecting
doing in our ears. I'm so sorry.
We're really expecting a lot of you tonight. Not only are we going to be barraging you with questions at a rapid pace here, but also, we just started. For those of you just joining us, we started Guthook's AMA on the Appalachian Trail subreddit about 10 minutes ago. And
Appalachian Trail subreddit.
I'm sorry, the Appalachian Trail subreddit. And
whichever way you want to say it.
Yeah, and we've already got 3 questions and 1 comment from a bot, which is just letting us know that someone on another subreddit linked to this page. So questions are starting to come in, and the way it works is, the Reddit interview kind of takes place in real time, but you've got pretty much as long as you want to answer those questions, so you don't have to be on Reddit typing right now. But
yikes.
Yeah, I think some of the people from Reddit are using the Discord link and are joining us now. So, as the chat room fills up, we're going to gradually become more and more on topic here and start addressing some of these questions. But why don't we start?
Gary, you said that I have to log into Reddit in order to see the questions on the AMA.
No, you don't. You don't have to log in or create an account or anything. There's a link in our Discord chat, which I will also put in the show notes.
I don't see any comments yet, though.
Refresh.
Yeah, you have
enhance.
I'm a dummy. They're there now. I just had to.
There you go.
Just had to refresh.
Yep.
Thank you.
Now,
thank you for pointing out the obvious.
What I was saying. So here, let's also do this. Let's have people who aren't talking mute their microphones for now, because we're getting people eating potato chips and.
Yeah, I'm hearing people eating, and I haven't had dinner yet. It's making me hungry.
Yeah.
Wait, aren't you on the West Coast?
That's to you, Megan.
Voldemort, is that question directed at me? I am not. I am definitely not on the West Coast. I'm New Hampshire. Yeah, up where it snowed a couple weeks ago.
I
was in that snow a few days ago.
That's crazy to me that you guys are having snow right now, because we just had a frost and that's it.
Wait,
it's real snow.
Green Giant, where are you?
So I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, that's right. The Portland of the South.
The Portland of Portland.
I love Portland.
Are you talking about the same one? I'm in the original Portland. The one that was Portland before it was cool.
I'm so glad this came up, because I am in the process of moving back to the original Portland, the real Portland.
Man, I'll tell you what, Portland, Oregon.
What?
that was the first half of a sentence by Crazy Larry. I'm not sure. Something about Portland.
Hell,
all I heard was Portland, Oregon.
I used to hang out in Portland, Oregon.
The real Portland.
I dated a girl in Vancouver, Washington.
This is amazing.
We're referring to Portland, Maine. The real.
Oh, I know. I've been to Portland, Maine too.
That's the real one.
It's crazy there's there. Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I was gonna try and find. I was up on. So going back to the snow thing, I was up on Franconia Ridge on Sunday.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah, here I'll see if I can figure out how to put pictures on this thing Discord like.
That would be awesome.
I'm pretty sure I can.
Ben?
I've used a computer once or twice. Oh yeah, that's a good
For
one.
that hike rate at this time of year, do you have to use crampons and an ice pick, or are you?
Most people were in micro spikes or something like that. I went just full sneakers the whole way. I told everybody I would put on my micro spikes when it got icy.
Decision, or do you feel like that was a pretty good decision?
I was okay. I don't like telling other people that that it would be okay for them. I feel like I'm a little more confident on my feet than the average person that I see out hiking. And,
I've been wanting to get more into winter hiking, and, I'm in New England, so there's plenty of places I can go that are winter right now. But I've always wondered how much technical equipment I need, and always kind of been hesitant because I'm worried about like, oh, do I need to have all this fancy crampons? And what about an ice pick? I don't know, an ice pack. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
It's
fancy. I don't know.
I don't think you need to be as fancy as most people would say, but don't start by going up above tree line in the White Mountains. Like, you start by doing some of the easier hikes, and it makes.
I don't know. I'm not a fan of starting easy. My first backpacking trip was the Appalachian Trail. I don't really do anything half-ass. Or part way.
I know that feeling.
Or easy.
Making
winter
goes
backpacking is very
full ass.
Yeah, I do everything full assed.
Oh boy, that's gonna get me into trouble someday. But for now,
100% of my ass goes into whatever I do. That was like the most interview-like thing that we've done so far. So this,
I like where this is going. So 100.
Oh my gosh, these photos are gorgeous.
You say 100% of your ass goes into everything you do. Why don't you, for benefit of people just joining us, tell us, what it is that you do? Because I think what you do is pretty interesting.
Well, I like to hike a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make the Guthook Guides app for the Appalachian Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, some other trails here and there.
Yeah, quite a few actually. Don't be modest. So I downloaded.
It takes a long time to list them all out. So I'll just say a lot of them, a lot of long trails, and a few others. For instance, the White Mountains of New Hampshire.
Okay, well that actually that ties into the first the top question right now on your Reddit AMA. Someone is asking, do you have plans to make? Or do you have plans to map smaller trails? I'm especially interested in water sources. I hope your app gets big enough to where you can afford to pay people to hike, parentheses, me, and map the trails. Everybody wants to work for Guthook now. Do you get that a lot?
Well, let's break this down into its parts. We'll start with that last part, the paying people to hike. Yeah, we generally try and work with the trail maintainers, the organizations that maintain the trails, because it's more reliable long-term source of info about the trail.
That's a good way to phrase that. It's basically the the corporate equivalent would be we get college interns to do most of the grunt work for us, right?
Well, except this is the opposite. We don't want the college interns to do the. Actually, technically, we do have one of our two employees started out as an intern in college. I have a bad habit of not answering questions directly, but luckily that one's not a question. That's just
you should be a politician.
Thanks, son of Zach Neffin.
Yeah. So yeah, the Reddit name, Reddit user, son of Zachnafine or Zachnafine, ask that question.
The one part of that is a proper question. Sorry, I'm not making fun of you, Zach, son of Zach. I'm just the part that's easiest for me to answer. Yeah, we have a bunch of smaller trails. I don't know how small you're looking for. Yeah, man, we've got like a list of the trails that we have apps for. So atlasguides.com, that's us. And that has kind of a full list, but so like a year and change ago, we consolidated all of the iPhone apps into one app. So you can find all of the trails that we have guides for in the one iPhone app. We are in the process of doing that for the Android app. I'll just say most of the trails that we have in the app are long distance hiking trails. Some of them are longer than others. Like we've got a bunch in Arkansas that are relatively short, and by relatively I mean like 200-ish or less
Yeah,
miles.
short means different things to different people for sure.
Yeah. And so like throughout New England, we have a bunch of different locations like the White Mountains or the Monadnock Sunapee Greenway. That's a pretty good one. If you live in New Hampshire and you haven't hiked that one, it's a really fun little trail. It's like a weekend.
So the way the way the app works is actually pretty neat. I downloaded it earlier just to check it out. And basically you get the app itself is free, and it's essentially it's the interface, right? The app is basically the window into the maps, and all of the, individual maps and purchases are made right there within the thing. So like, I open up, the first thing I see is, I can pick East Coast long trails. And there's the Vermont's Long Trail, Mid-State Trail, the Benton Mackay Trail, which is down here by me. And they're all, like $11.99 is what I'm looking at right now. What's in each one of these? What do you get? Are you getting resupply points? Are you getting water, shelters? How much data is in each one of these individual, I guess, sub apps?
Depends on the people that we work with to make the guide, but in general, yeah, it's where the trail goes. A lot of times it's side trails also, usually campsites, camping opportunities, water sources, views.
Oh, views is nice.
Other interesting points along the way. For a lot of the long distance trails, we're getting town guides. They were kind of a late addition, so the PCT and the Appalachian Trail have, we're not trying to reinvent Yelp, so we're trying not to like go and add every McDonald's along the entire AT, but like we've got like, especially things that are geared towards hikers, like hostels and outfitters. So Crazy Larry's in there, in Damascus.
Just looking on your website and looking at all of the different trails you have available, and you can sort by region. And I did not realize you have the Te Aurora and some trails that are not in the U.S.
Oh yeah, actually.
Wow.
Last year, sometimes we do the mapping ourselves of certain trails, and we work with a few people in the UK. So you'd be pretty surprised to see how many long distance hikes there are in the UK. And it's a very different kind of hike than what we're used to in the States for a long trail. But
maybe
what?
Less wilderness.
Yeah, definitely less wilderness.
Towns.
But yeah, damn cool. Like just a lot of beautiful areas going through like the rural areas of like the one that I was really psyched about was the Coast to Coast in northern England, which was like 220 miles long. You're just going from like one town to the next. And I was like, my first night on that trail, I stayed in a bunkhouse in a 1,000-year-old farm. Like, how cool is that? We had like a little coal stove, like actual coal, to keep the place warm. And like you're walking through a lot of working farms, stopping for tea every afternoon.
That's very sweet. British. I want to read this from the website, if you don't mind. It's under your guides about let's see, it's the UK trails or the Europe trails. It says walk Britain Highlands and cobblestones, meadows and pubs. That's definitely a different hike than what you get.
Oh yeah,
wilderness, but that sounds like a really great experience. Walking down ancient cobblestone streets and then having a pint at the end of the day. I mean, hiker's dream.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's more expensive than a wilderness through hike per mile, that's for sure. But yeah, they're shorter trails.
Experience,
so yeah, so we're also working on so we have the Camino de Santiago in Spain that's been on there for a while. That's like I haven't been there myself, but I hear the food's real good. And we're working on adding a few more of the variations of the Camino, and we have like a few partnerships with people in mainland Europe that we're gonna try adding to soon. And yeah, we've got like some pretty awesome partners in Australia and New Zealand who
That's awesome.
are mapping for us. So we actually have a lot of relatively shorter trails in Australia, like the Bibbulmun track. That's a big one. Like Tasmania, apparently. Like there's a couple longer trails in Tasmania.
The
and by longer,
Bibbulmun track is the one that, remember when we talked to Squatch recently and he was on his way. Yeah. Oh, okay. You know Squatch. So let's do this, since we're starting to get some hits on the AMA and people are asking some questions here, and they'll get a little antsy if we don't type. Let's pick a short one and answer that first, just so they know that you're actually here and really doing it. So I'm looking at what's the craziest place you've been recognized off trail?
Yeah, I looked at that was the first one that got asked. I was like, man, I got nothing. I don't.
Another comment from Reddit, and obviously, Guthook, you don't have to respond to this one because we were just talking about Australian trails, and the comment right underneath that, which I'm sure you saw, is not much to say, from not Kiwi Haku. I don't know how to say that. Not much to say, but thank you for the awesome app. When I realized the Te Aurora was on there, it made my day as a Kiwi. So.
Yeah, and that's one where we do work with the Te Aurora Trust, the agency that I guess is in charge of that. So that's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm typing at the same time as I'm talking. No, that's fine.
So we actually had a plan in place for while you're typing, so that we don't have to worry
you guys
about.
Are going to sing and dance.
Yeah, we have singing and dancing ready to go, and. Oh, Megan's laughing, but it's Fishhook knows it's true. Yeah. So, we were talking about this earlier. I actually released an episode, the one that we recorded last week with Turnaround, who just finished his AT through hike a few days ago. That episode was released about an hour before we started recording this one. And I made a mistake on this one. I guess it's a good mistake, though. I accidentally uploaded the file in the highest possible quality. So I accidentally used up 2/3 of our month's worth of bandwidth on one on one show. But if you've got good headphones, or if you've got good speakers, this one that dropped today sounds really good.
Oh man, I'm gonna just
while
listen
we're
to
saying that we used
long.
up some of our bandwidth, let's also just remind people that we have a Patreon to help us cover our bandwidth. It's patreon.com/stories from the trail.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. See, I know what I'm doing.
I can hear y'all pretty good.
Thanks, Larry. We can hear you.
I don't know about all that bandwidth stuff. I never did understand all that. Well, I'm just lucky to get on a computer.
Basically, it means that we might have to pay more money. Because Gary screwed up, and it's totally fine. But we sound really good.
Yeah, so thanks for asking. But yeah, I don't like to call them donations because you get something in return.
It feels weird. It feels too much like GoFundMe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, except you've already got the product. The GoFundMe or the Kickstarter things always got a bad rap because it was like, give me money and I'll do this thing for you.
Yeah.
But people gave the money and didn't get the thing.
Hey, speaking
like,
we've got the thing. We're just going to keep doing the thing. Your help makes the thing better.
Yeah.
Makes us,
Did you crowdsource your first project, Guthook?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or any of them?
Nope. Yeah. So, no, the first project was the Pacific Crest Trail, and that was originally my buddy Paul, who's the co-founder. He was making a guidebook for the Pacific Crest Trail, which is called Pocket PCT. It's still out there. Like, he still publishes it. Yeah. So he was collecting data for that. And after he and I started hiking together, and we were talking about all the ups and downs of different types of guidebooks and whatnot, that's where we came up with the idea of trying to go the app route.
Okay.
Just with the data that he had already collected.
What are some of the ups and downs of a guidebook versus an app? Just in general.
Well, we were talking about guidebooks in relation to each other, because that year on the PCT was 2010, and there were a bunch of options for for guides to the trail that year, and none of them were perfect. Some of them came close, but nothing was great. Nothing was just what everybody needed. And a lot of people, myself included, were like, man, all these things suck. Why can't anybody make a good guide to the trail?
Okay.
Now I know it's pretty hard to maintain a good set of information for, thousands of miles of trail plus side trails plus,
I
things
bet.
change.
Yeah. So how do you do it?
Depends on the trail.
Okay. Yeah, that's a pretty open-ended question. That's like, how do you build a bridge?
Yeah, exactly. You just put a plank of wood across the thing.
Ta-da!
Good. You're done. Beyond that, there's also we're trying to sneakily do things that will actually encourage people to be good stewards of the trails that they're on.
So why do you need to be sneaky about that?
So I like to have it be a subliminal message in a way.
Okay.
You don't want to just, first of all, just telling someone hey, don't do this or do things this way. So it's an easy way to get ignored.
Yeah, people like to. Yeah, people like to do what you just told them not to do.
It's kind of like people like to do things that they think are their own idea. So if you can kind of lay the groundwork for people to think in a certain way that's going to be beneficial to the trail, to the environment, I'll have to outright tell them, hey, these are the rules.
Yeah. So it's what movie I watched when I was in Ashland, Oregon on the PCT was Inception. So I'm working on my Inception machine.
Okay.
Got it.
What does that do?
I'll tell you about it later.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, wait, where were we?
I guess the original question was how do you do it? But of course it's it's an incredibly complicated process with a lot of moving parts. Is this the kind of thing you did prior to being an app creator? Were you a professional programmer, project manager?
Oh no, not at all.
Oh, okay. Hobbyist?
Not really. This is the first app that I've built. It's still a work in progress. There's a lot of stuff going into it.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Let's see. So I've worked for the Green Mountain Club and the Appalachian Mountain Club, and I've worked for a couple of outdoor education things, the Vermont Youth Conservation Corps. That was one. I'm a sometimes, very rarely, NOLS instructor. That was kind of the path I was going down before.
What is that? A NOLS instructor? Tell us what that is.
Oh yeah. So NOLS is a really wonderful leadership school based in Lander, Wyoming, and they run wilderness expeditions that are, one part hard wilderness skills and 3 parts teaching team leadership and team dynamics and stuff like that. So it's the courses that they run are multi-week backpacking trips where, so you're in a group of people in the wilderness for days on end. It's a very different kind of hiking than through hiking. Like the standard NOLS course is 35 days in the wilderness, and you get resupplied while you're out there by like horse packing groups. So you literally do not come back into civilization for like a month.
Oh man,
Great.
And
that's NOLS, NOLS, right?
Yes, NOLS.edu. They're a great, wonderful organization. They were like some of the original part of like Leave No Trace, and a lot of research and development of like outdoor skills started or continued through them.
Is it all ages?
Yeah, it depends on the course type. Like I led a couple of like 14 and 15-year-olds course things. And the last course that I led, which was a couple of years ago, was like 40s and 50s-year-olds. And then the usual course age is like 16 to 23, I think, 16 to 22 or so. It's all over the place. Depends on what kind of.
That's really cool that they can get every age group involved.
Yeah, and it's hopefully you never stop learning. So it was nice with the older group. It's very different, like trying to teach 14 and 15-year-olds than it is 40 and 50-year-olds versus college folks and whatnot. So it's a different experience as a teacher, as long as people are like willing to learn. It'd be awesome.
Yes, that is key.
I want to hear about you learning. Tell us about what do you remember about your first hike? We're in therapy. Tell me about your mother. No, I want to hear about your.
Tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, can you remember what your first hike was?
Or
let me ask you, better yet, what's the first hike you remember?
Well, I remember my first backpacking trip.
That counts.
Like overnight.
Yeah, sure.
I can tell you about that.
Let's hear about that.
It was a shit show.
Oh, good. I love a good shit show story.
We want to hear about this.
So I went to it was high school. I went to a high school in the mountains of Maine, and the orientation trip was a 2 or 3 night backpacking trip, with not the greatest gear. And it happened
external
to
frame
rain.
pack.
No, it wasn't external frame. So it was real gear, It was not like older than I. And the school is very good with dealing with like backpacking trips. It just so happened that there's a bunch of kids who have never done this before, and maybe more kids on the group than there should have been, considering like the Leave No Trace guidelines. And we went into Mahoosic Notch, which is pretty sweet. But it was raining a lot over that week. And by a lot, I mean, I think probably 4 or 5 inches over 2 or 3 days that we were out. Yeah, let's see all the bad things that I did. I dumped a bowl full of macaroni and cheese into a little stream. That's what you do with your food when when you can't eat it, right? Yeah. I didn't poop for 3 days because nobody wants to poop in the woods when it's their first time out.
Oh no.
Oh,
God. I don't know. So I'm writing an answer on the Reddit thing to this guy who asked plans to add the Hayduke to your app. Some shite clever name, or shit-y. Depends on how you break that apart. So I'm going to write this and send it.
Okay.
And then I'll explain it a little bit more because I'm not sure if it's as well explained. But
some shite clever name asks, any plans to add the Hayduke Trail to your app?
Hey, while I'm typing this, you want to explain to folks what the trail is? Because I'm assuming that you probably have heard of it.
The only Hayduke I know is the character from Edward Abbey.
That is what this trail, in quotation marks, is named for.
Okay.
Um,
Was Hayduke part of the Monkey Wrench gang?
yeah.
Okay.
Or I think, yes. He was the gang.
Okay. So, yeah, for people not... Megan, do you know what we're talking about? Travis, Daniel, anybody? I have a dim...
I know whom?
So I'll see if I can shed just a tiny little bit of light on this subject. So Edward Abbey is an author that people tend to either really, really love or really, really hate. And he spawned something that some people refer to as almost eco-terrorism with this book called The Monkey Wrench Gang, which is about a bunch of people, a bunch of young people who live out in the desert. I think it's like Utah. And they go around doing things like taking chainsaws and cutting down billboards because they're an eyesore to the natural landscape. You know, like these are people who are taking like the kind of morals and teachings of Greenpeace, but to like the next level. Like they'll blow up an oil refinery because it's, you know, some deer might get bothered. You know what I mean? Like they're taking things to the extreme. And it's a work of fiction, you know, but there are some people who take it a little bit too seriously, and there are debates. And, you know, Edward Abbey is a horrible person. To suggest such, kind of like Stephen King, you know, people are like, hey, he promotes murder. No, he writes fiction.
Yeah.
You know, so how did I do? Because I don't really know much else about Edward Abbey.
He
Just Googled him, and it sounds like Hayduke Lives was written posthumously.
Well, Hayduke was a character in the Monkey Wrench Gang.
Okay.
And he showed up in other...
Oh, in other novels?
Yeah. He was the craziest of the crazy in Monkey Wrench Gang, I believe.
Okay.
Gotcha. Maybe. Do you want me to read that so we know what it is?
Do that real quick and I'll finish this little...
Yeah, you type. I'll read from Wikipedia. So Wikipedia, obviously, which is never wrong, says Hayduke, one word, is a term and verb used among environmental activists and people who cite cult, quote, revenge books.
Wow.
Oh.
George Washington Hayduke, a fictional character based on Edward Abbey's friend Doug Peacock in Abbey's cult classics, The Monkey Wrench Gang and Hayduke Lives.
There we go.
The character is personified the no compromise in defense of the earth approach to environmentalism, made real in early Earth First activism. Environmental activism to a extreme, I guess.
So I did read, started to read a book called Desert Solitaire this summer. I have a bad habit of starting books and getting about halfway through them and forgetting that I'm reading a book.
Me too.
So I'm in the middle of like 3 books right now. And one of them is Desert Solitaire by Edward Abbey. But one of the things I really like about him is that his descriptions are they're borderline poetic. He's writing about these stark, rocky landscapes where, you know, almost nothing lives. And, you know, they're just these cold, unwelcoming places at night that want to burn you alive during the daytime. And something about the way he presents them makes me want to go there. And, you know, a lot of his subtext is also like, and parentheses, and get the fuck away from annoying humans, close parentheses. Like there's a lot of that in there too. So, this Hayduke character is kind of the embodiment of Edward Abbey's philosophy from as far as I can tell, based on having read half of one of his books. I was really good at book reports. like I didn't have to, you know, like, oh, I get the idea. I know what's happening here. You're like, so does he catch, you ever catch the white whale? You'll need to read it and find out on your own. That's half of the joy of reading, ma'am. And then they would give me an eraser. That was a prize that you got for giving a good book report in.
Eraser, was it shaped like a dog or one of those fun things?
No. It was a simple, boring pink trapezoid. What was your reply to the Hayduke Trail app? What did you say?
Sorry, I'm going in and disabling the sound for incoming messages. There we go.
Okay.
So I tried to think of a better response, but I kept it short and sweet. So the Hayduke Trail is it's not really an official trail. It's a route that some folks came up with from the Grand Canyon to Arches National Park, I believe.
Oh, okay.
When I say it's not an official trail, it's like it's been around for it's as an idea, definitely since before I hiked the Appalachian Trail, because I met someone who was one of the first people to ever thru hike it on my AT thru hike. Anyway, so it's an idea. The
Hayduke Trail is an idea.
Yeah, it's a route that it goes certain places. You're not necessarily on a trail. You're going overland between all of these places.
So it's in the book. It's basically, I would say, bushwhacking, but there's no bushes because it's all desert.
Yeah, bushwhacking is a interesting term. So let me.
It's definitely off trail travel. Like you've got to damage some wilderness to follow this route. Is kind of what
here we go.
Like.
Okay, so the HaydukeTrail.org is Brian Frankel came up with some of it. That's the guy who started ULA backpacks. Anyway, here's what it says. It's an extremely challenging 800-mile backcountry route through some of the most rugged and breathtaking landscapes on Earth. Located entirely on public land, connects Arches, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Bryce Canyon, Grand Canyon, and Zion National Parks. My impression, it's a route. It's not a trail. So if I was to create a popular app that shows the route of the Hayduke Trail, then suddenly that becomes like the unofficial but widely used, source of information. And once someone pushes a track that says this is where the trail is, even if that's not really where the trail is, that's what people start
that's where
doing.
it is now. Yeah, you've kind of it kind of becomes a self-sustaining process where it becomes the trail because people start using it, and it has a lot of impact.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just impact on the land that I worry about, even, and that area out there isn't very
it's delicate.
Yeah, it's super remote. It's like, the Southwest Canyonlands, that's serious wilderness. So
it would be
that,
like,
and then
it would be like telling people a route to get to the summit of Katahdin that's not one of the recognized trails. Like you would just be trampling over so much fragile vegetation, and not just eroding the rock itself, but affecting the local wildlife. And
to me, it's more that's certainly part of it. If you are an experienced wilderness traveler in that area, then take the route that you want to set up. To me, it's also a lot about this is the whole idea of the Hayduke Trail is you should have the skills to be able to do this thing without just having a GPS tell you where to go. This is super remote, super wild. If you go out there not knowing what you're doing, you could be in serious danger.
Have you ever?
It's not like a place that you would go as a novice of any kind. So I'm not going to put this in the app that's designed for people who are hiking on popular trails, or popular to some extent, but they're very defined trails. Like the people who build those trails are building the trail to get you from one place to the other, and expecting you to basically be on that trail. If you want to go off of an actual trail, then you should be relying on your own skill set. And the whole idea of the trail is that it's a off trail kind of difficult route.
I wonder if that's something you've ever tried for yourself, route finding or any kind of navigational. Do you ever do any orienteering? What do you know about navigation, Guthook?
some places it's a lot easier than other places.
Yeah. Do you ever do the old map and compass style, paper map?
Yeah.
Is it?
I definitely, that's actually one of the skills that I really liked to practice a lot at NOLS, because this is like a lot of wilderness stuff, and using, like in my later courses that I was on, we had a GPS backup, but we never really used it. We just had a lot of stacks of USGS quad maps. Yeah, so in like, not last summer, but the summer before, a friend of mine and I went and hiked the Wind River High Route out in Wyoming. We just used paper maps. I didn't bother with a compass, and didn't bother with putting like the maps on my phone. It was just paper maps, because up above tree line like that, in a place that is, has as striking like topography as that is, it's really good practice to be able to navigate without electronic aids. And because the high route, again, is not a defined trail, we were pretty much trail the whole time, but it's like, go to this pass, then go down to like this river, then go to this pass, etc. There's some level of detail about like how to get through certain tricky spots, but otherwise it's like, no, you find your own way.
Tell us about a time when you got lost.
Yeah, so I was on the Pacific Crest Trail in the Sierras, the part where people generally like worry about getting lost because there's a lot of snow covering the trail, and there was that year. And I was doing the lazy hiker thing, where I was following the trail when it was on the ground, and then when it was under the snow, I was just following people's footprints.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, not always the best option. Probably the worst I got lost was this one point where I let the rest of my group go ahead of me because I was stopping for a snack, and then to a snowless patch in the woods, and could not find where their footprints went back onto the snow on the other side. So I spent like probably a good 45 minutes wandering around this dry patch of ground.
Oh shit.
It was, basically like having ignored how I got to where I was, and not paying attention to the map.
So what happened?
So I eventually did find the actual trail, because there were occasional blazes, and I caught up with them, and they were like, "Oh, what took you so long?"
And
that was
it.
that.
Yep.
Oh yeah, just a minor episode of being absolutely lost.
Yeah, and that could put you in a real panic. But it's when you rely on crutches, not not your own ability, I think is when you can get yourself in trouble, like when those crutches go away. So that is a reason why all of us who make Guthook Guides apps say very strongly, like, you should carry other types of navigational reference when you're hiking on it. You should know how to use them. Like, don't rely only on your phone. Even if your phone is like 100% reliable, it's a lot better idea to just know the skills that you're foregoing. It's one of my teachers in high school. He basically said, like, you should know the rules so that when you break them, you're not just breaking them out of ignorance. He was referring to like art. Basically, like, if you're going to be a great artist, and do something that's like making abstract art, learn how to make non-abstract art first, because otherwise you're just like scrawling doodles, and it's not like necessarily your skill. It's just like happy mistakes.
Yeah.
Bob Ross, happy accidents.
Yeah.
I had a math teacher in high school that had similar philosophies. We weren't allowed to use calculators until we could show, that you could do it on paper if you needed to. And we actually we actually learned how to use an abacus and a slide rule just so we could get like the whole picture. Yeah, but I was also
got me beat on that.
I was a nerd. Math nerd. All right, so I have go ahead.
No, I think that's awesome. Like, yeah, the calculator is a really good example of, like, if you don't understand what the calculator is doing, then maybe you should go back a few steps, learn what it's doing before you start trying to use it.
Who is Beth? Beth is a woman from the United Kingdom. She's a driven woman. She doesn't like to be indoors. She enjoys the outdoors just like all of us. And she's going on an epic journey around the coastline of the UK to raise awareness and money for search and rescue. Doesn't that sound like a good idea? No, it's crazy. But she's gonna do it, and you can follow her on bethfootforward.co.uk.
All right, so what I was about to say was that we generally try to keep our recording sessions to about 90 minutes or so, which is kind of the point that we're at. But we also kind of really screwed around a lot at the beginning, and felt like we got a little bit of a late start. So if you guys don't mind, those of you who are on the line sticking around for just a little bit longer, some more questions are still coming in on Reddit, and I've got some questions here on paper that I was interested in asking. Before,
hang on, I'm writing real quick.
No, you take your time. We can, like I say every time we edit this show heavily to make it sound like we're a bunch of professionals.
Edit the shit out of this.
Yeah, Fishhook is asking an obvious, what I think is an obvious question. Well, not maybe that, not obvious in a sense that the answer is obvious, but anybody who has a trail name, usually within minutes, someone goes, "How'd you get your trail name?" So how'd you get your trail name? What is Guthook? What does that mean?
My God, should I really let this cat out of the bag?
You don't have to if you don't want to. If you want the mystery,
it's been secret for a while. You want to keep it. You can keep it under wraps. But
yeah, it's actually not secret. It's just
I thought this was going to be a big reveal, and you were choosing us as the stories from the trail as the platform to reveal us on. Now
tune in now and find out.
I'm a little disappointed.
You or Pikachu. Anyway, yeah, I got it when I was in college. Actually, it was in the outing club at my college. We just, a few of us decided. Actually, someone else did give it to me. I didn't come up with this idea myself, but we needed pro wrestling names.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Pro wrestling. And is Guthook is that your signature move?
No, it's just the nasty looking tool that we found. There's Guthook, there was Bonesaw, and there's Meat Cleaver. I don't know what Meat Cleaver's up to these days. I haven't seen him since I was in college, but Bonesaw is a high school Latin teacher in Rhode Island.
I was really hoping Bonesaw turned out to be an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh man, that would be pretty good. He does do some pretty impressive cooking, which involves a lot of butchering of animals, dead animals.
I should hope so.
You just have to specify.
Speaking of dead animals, here's a topic that comes up often on the show. Let's talk about food.
Oh yeah, I love food.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry.
Yeah. Wait. Voldemort. Megan? Was that your? Okay.
Real name is Megan. Yeah. It's okay. It's public knowledge.
Okay. I just remembered that you were the other person dinner yet, and I'm looking around at my apartment trying to edible.
Anyway, sorry about that, guys. I have leftovers in my fridge that are calling my name. So
yeah, we use dinner as an excuse to end the show every time we do this anyway. So
nice.
Yeah, I haven't eaten Megan. Sometimes Megan eats while we're recording. You have a salmon?
We're recording very frequently. But I did not do that today because, as I said, I got home at the time we were supposed to start recording.
We're glad you're here. That's always nice.
So glad I made it.
So let's talk about food. What do you like on trail? What do you like off trail? This is a 3-part question. What do you like on trail? What do you like off trail? And do you have any interesting food related stories, whether it's, trail magic?
Your answer in essay format.
Okay, 5-paragraph essay.
This is a 3-point question, 1 point for each correct answer.
Food is my favorite thing. I like food. That's 1 paragraph.
No partial points for repeating the same thing.
How many words does it have to be?
6 or more.
Single space? Double spaced?
Double spaced. Always. And we need to make sure that we format our what's that thing called at the end? Citations. There we go.
Yeah. IBID.
You just gave me PTSD with that.
It has been a while.
Lorem ipsum something.
Well, let's start with on-trail food because I think that's what people are more interested in. I don't really do much of the junk food anymore because I am a weekender and I can no longer just eat anything I want and feel good about it afterwards, even though my metabolism picks up really quickly once I'm on like the trail for a couple days.
Oh yeah.
So Trader Joe's has made a lot of money off of me on all of my hiking
I love
trips.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah, the only one in Maine is
there's no Trader Joe's near me. I am so excited.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's right.
So you're not doing junk food. What are you doing?
Well, it's not that I don't do any junk food.
What's in your gut?
I stay away from Hostess cakes and those kind of things. But
you're saying you don't buy a pound of Little Debbie's?
Yeah. Also, I'm kind of like a snob when it comes to baked goods. So,
fancy.
Well, maybe not a snob, but snobby enough. I don't do those tasty cakes.
Are you a fan of the Great British Baking Show?
I also don't really watch TV.
Oh, okay.
Although, I did the only episode of the Great British Baking Show that I've ever seen was at the end of a day on the Coast to Coast trail last year.
Mm-hmm.
End of the longest day on that trail, I also happened to have gotten food poisoning that morning. So I hiked having eaten nothing that day except half a slice of toast and 3 crackers. I did not feel good.
That sounds dreadful.
Luckily, very luckily, at that point in the hike, I was hiking with a really, really entertaining couple of British women who were like, "We'll take care of you. Just
and
as long as you can walk."
Do they provide? Is it crisps or biscuits?
They did provide the crackers.
Okay,
I can't remember what they're called.
Were there crumpets?
Oh, I ate a lot of crumpets.
Yeah, okay,
good stuff.
Fishhook is asking about Marmite in the Discord.
Is it Marmite? I didn't have any Marmite.
Or Vegemite. I think Marmite is the stuff they sell in the US. Vegemite is what they sell. Yeah. So Vegemite is what they sell abroad. In the States, it's called Marmite.
I thought it was Vegemite in Australia and Marmite
Oh, I don't know.
You thought it was Marmite where?
Okay,
Marmite's
British.
British?
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Australian Marmite is British. Okay.
I also don't eat that nasty stuff when I'm hiking. So yeah, let's go back
it's
to,
also disgusting.
Yeah, let's go back to food on the trail.
I thought we were talking about food on the trail. Marmite? No?
I actually eat a lot of like trail mix, like nuts and dried berries, because I make the best trail mix around.
Do
gotta
you
keep
now?
it simple. Yeah, you keep it simple. You got some almonds, you got some maybe hazelnuts,
Okay.
you got dried cherries, dried cranberries, and probably some M&Ms. That's it. You don't want anything that gets crummy and small.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have just the good stuff.
Okay.
There you go. That's the secret to good trail mix.
All right.
You also want to have the ratios are important. You got to have a lot of the M&Ms.
Yeah, if you
I think that's what most trail mix really, really screws up is that there's so little sugar and chocolate.
Yeah, you got to have the sugar to get the rest of it down. You know, a spoonful of M&Ms makes the almonds and hazelnuts go down.
Now, my question about your almonds, are those raw almonds or are those toasted?
Probably toasted.
More of a raw almond fan myself.
Guthook food line. Good idea, Lobster.
Hey, yeah, this is something. Actually, maybe you could add something to the app that's like a meal finder.
Yeah,
you know, like
that's too much work.
Like a little arrow that points you to the direction of the nearest all-you-can-eat buffet, and the arrow turns a brighter, or it starts going, you know, as you get to the.
That's good.
No. Yeah, you know. Okay, so that's another thing. There are not a whole lot of all-you-can-eat buffets. Really, like. Basically, no matter how hungry I've gotten on a hike, I'll stick with food that's relatively fresh.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Is that new since you've become a weekender, or is that how you've always done it?
I have let's just say really greasy, like all-you-can-eat Chinese buffets or whatever. I might as well just be eating that while I'm sitting on the toilet because it's going to go through me that fast. So I don't like that experience.
Okay to say that because on the show we love two topics of conversation: food and poop.
Yeah, I'm a hiker. I can talk about poop all day long. Yeah. So I like, I like my greasy food, but I don't like it when it's so greasy that it just turns me into a rocket ship. I like to enjoy my dinner.
All right, so that I can cross the second question off of my list, which was got any poop stories? So we got that covered.
If that wasn't a story, that was just day in the life.
Okay.
Do you want to share a poop story?
Yeah. Do you actually have any good poop stories?
Poop story.
Oh my God, there are so many.
Oh well, you know, out of your top 10, say, what's number 7?
Yeah, it's usually not that it's like a top 10. The only ones you remember are ones that are kind of the bottom 10. Actually, so here's one I'll tell, which is, man, this is also from the early days, Guthook being in the outdoors. But when I was in college, I took a semester off from college and did a semester at NOLS. That was what got me interested in the school itself. So that was 3 months of various wilderness pursuits. And one of the parts of that was 2.5 weeks in the Canyonlands in that area near Hayduke Trail. And there's a lot of like downtime on, NOLS courses. You're not like traveling 20 miles a day. There's a lot of time in camp and a lot of like emphasis on the cooking and creating things, culinary concoctions. I had a few really bad culinary concoctions. I had a few really good ones, but the instructors of the course only seemed to hear about it when I made something that was epic disaster. And one of those was I had a real hankering for milkshakes. And I was like, hey, dried milk powder and brown sugar could be kind of like a milkshake mix. You just put in enough of the, enough of the dried milk powder. That wasn't a good idea.
Oh no.
Let's just say, I won't go into the gory details, but are you all familiar with the Bristol Stool Scale?
Oh no! What is
Oh,
the
God.
Bristol? No, what is this? Oh wait, is this the, like there's a like an infographic that shows you the different
Yeah,
like the
like,
solid
it's on Wikipedia
versus
because it's an actual tool that like doctors use to describe.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what's it, the Bristol?
Here,
Scale kind
you
of
go.
a
Yeah, well,
Oh, hey,
firmness.
cool. The Bristol Stool Chart.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah. This is why people want to join our Discord chats because you get
This
to
is
see
exactly why, because you can get really down and deep into the poop discussions.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I haven't looked this up in a while. Sorry, monster. Can't unsee that. Also, let's just say, dried milk powder. Use sparingly. Be careful. Otherwise, type 7.
Type 7. Oh no.
Oh God.
Oh man. Megan, do you want to tell our listeners what type 7 on the Bristol Stool
I
Chart
would
says
love
here?
to narrate this for everybody.
You want to start? Actually, you want to start at the I don't know. Do we want to? Let's not read the whole thing. Let's not spoil it, but let's go right to the.
Let's not spoil it. Do you want me to just do type 7?
Give us the best. Give us the.
Types go from 1 to 7, and type 7 is severe diarrhea described as liquid consistency with no solid pieces.
And that picture that comes with it's a drawing.
Two.
It's a drawing.
It's a drawing. It's not like a real picture. It's it's a drawing. But it looks like baby poop.
Yeah, you don't.
It's
you
like a
don't
nice
wanna
mustard
see an
yellow.
Actual image of. Yeah, lobster. At least it wasn't
Okay.
photographed.
Maybe I'm hungry. Maybe it's because we just got done talking about food. But this
Do you
type
think it looks
7,
like kind of delicious food?
I kind of do actually. This type 7.
And type 7 looks like food.
Severe diarrhea looks like it looks like melted peanut butter, like what might run out of a molten chocolate.
Usually,
molten chocolate
if I
cake.
say something is going to look like something, and it's those two things, it would be round.
It would be what?
Oh,
Yeah, you would say the melted peanut butter looks like severe diarrhea. You would not say severe diarrhea looks like food.
This
well, if we're going down that route, type 1 separate hard lumps kind of looks like those malt balls.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say bonbons, like little chocolate covered.
Deer and moose have pretty type 1.
Yes,
in
they
general,
do.
I think.
Yes.
It's just I'm not a medical professional.
And again, maybe
Just a hobbyist.
just a poop hobbyist.
I also want to point out that the Bristol Stool Chart is often abbreviated to BSC. Like that's how you know it's widely used when you get an abbreviation for it.
Yeah. Like all trails, like the through hiking trails.
Have you hiked the BSC? It was shit.
Oh yes.
It was shit.
Up and down from 1 to 7, depending on my diet and how many miles per day.
So can we talk about type 6 mild diarrhea for just a second?
Also known as being a through hiker.
Mushy consistency with ragged edges. The cartoon representation of type 6 mild diarrhea kind of looks like chopped bacon to me.
I was thinking beef jerky.
You're right. You're right.
Nope, going with beef jerky on that one.
Yep, that's beef jerky. Well, I mean, since we're doing this,
Do eat a lot of beef jerky.
Since we're doing this, do you want to take type 5?
Lacking fiber.
With the
Becky
British
is spelled
spelling,
the British
by the
way. Fibre. Soft blobs with clear cut edges. Now that to me looks like I don't want to say a Mounds bar. I want to say almond joy because it's slightly lumpy at the top, like you know where an almond is.
Talking about
on
type
Almond Joy.
5?
What else are you seeing?
Type 5. I don't know. Looks like 6 circular sausage patties, like the ones you would get in an egg McMuffin or a bacon cheese.
Sure, look at it. Make it bigger so I can see. Yeah, I can see that as being sausage
Everybody
patties.
who's listening to this at home is just picturing in their minds just what the poop looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Somebody joked that we should do an entire poop episode at some point, and we might.
I think that was a joke, Gary. I think that was a legitimate suggestion.
I think it was actually, yeah. So what we
I'm
might,
pretty sure.
one of the things we also do, Ryan, is instead of like just necessarily having like, oh, this is our show where we interview Guthook, we'll do topical shows where we take like this list of questions that I'm reading you, like your food and some other things, and we're gonna take those excerpts and make them into a like just food episode. Like we ask everybody these questions, and we go down this poop rabbit hole with everyone. But this is the first.
This poop hole. You go down that poop hole.
We always go down a poop hole.
But I gotta tell you, this is the most detail we've ever gotten into the poop scale here.
You gotta be, specificity is the soul of narrative, as they say.
Oh my goodness! Well, that's very profound.
So deep for.
It is deep, like a smooth sausage or snake, also known as type 4 normal poop.
It actually does say like a normal. Yeah, there you go.
Like a smooth, soft sausage or snake.
I love how they use the word soft to describe.
But I got to tell you, if I want any of these things that we're looking at to come out of my body, I want it to be the type 4. That looks like it's probably going to be the most satisfying.
Oh, wait, there are 2 different normal ones.
Yes, there are.
Okay.
I think we were like...
A sausage shape with cracks in the surface, also normal.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the type 3 is also normal. I see that now. Yeah.
And 4 are both normal.
Type 3 looks like you've eaten a lot of corn or nuts.
Yeah, so speaking of, I'm gonna bring this back on topic.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I thought we
for
were.
Food on trail, you got to get your vegetables. Vegetables are good for your health. All the, I think through hikers in general are, we're told not incorrectly that that it's probably good for your hiking ability to eat a whole lot of junk food. I'm hoping that I will be around for, another 50, 60 years. I want my body to not hate me towards the end of that time.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I like vegetables. They're good for you. I try and get a lot of them when I'm in town. Plus, I do a lot of like the dried or freeze-dried vegetables dinners while hiking. Another good option is seaweed.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, I love me some seaweed.
Yeah, turns out
from Trader Joe's.
Oh, I've never gotten seaweed from Trader Joe's.
The seaweed snacks from Trader Joe's, I buy them in bulk.
Yeah, there's, living on the coast of Maine here, there's a lot of seaweed farms. And so the local grocery stores carry a lot of, different kinds of seaweed. Kelp and
seaweed or instead of dried?
Oh yeah, dried. But it goes really well in like on the trail.
In a what?
You can put a ton of stuff in there, and that's got a lot of fiber.
Do you say in a ramen?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's generally good in something that's soup. So
I was going to ask if you had time for one more question, and then we need to wrap up.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I've managed to keep relatively on top of it. Luckily, it's not a very. This isn't like when someone generally famous does an AMA.
Well, it's also a smaller subreddit compared to like, I'm Robert Downey Jr. Ask me anything is going to be in a different page.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I'm no Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and the other thing too,
I have no interest in being Iron Man.
But you are just as good looking, from what I hear, if the legends are true.
It depends on who you ask, I guess.
I'm sure there's somebody on this planet who thinks that you're a better looking dude than Robert Downey Jr. I don't know who that person is, but I hope.
My mom.
Okay. All right.
Aww. On this podcast. Shout out to your mom.
Mother of Guthook.
Yeah. So as a mod, I can see behind the scenes that your post has been viewed 343 times so far.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
Who are these?
yeah, there's a lot
I think
of
that was me just hitting refresh 300 times.
yeah, there's a lot of lurking happens on Reddit where people will and here's the other thing
with
too
lurkers.
is that it's also a relatively fresh post. You submitted this an hour ago, and I know we're only going to stick around here for just a few more minutes, but people will continue to see this post you made on Reddit for the next day or so, and
yeah, it's true.
The questions
and
will
I'll say,
continue
sorry guys,
to trickle in.
I don't really go on Reddit much, so. Oh wait, what?
Yeah, your silence will be enough of a reply. They'll figure it out.
I guess I'm supposed to like leave another message that's like, "I'm out of here, suckers."
Yeah, you got to peace out, and yeah, we have to a link to your Twitter of you throwing up a gang sign or something. I don't know. I'm not sure how Twitter works.
My gang is through hikers.
Oh yeah, true to the through. Hiker trash. Do you consider yourself hiker trash?
No.
Okay.
Nah.
Okay. I was just gonna say it's gonna be dinner time here in a second. I have.
Yeah. See when we start derailing again, Gary goes, "Oh, it's time for food, guys. It's time for food."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I even said that back when we started that we're gonna use food as an excuse to get out of here, and that's
well. I mean,
we've
we've been continuing to talk about food, which obviously means food is on everyone's mind, which means we're probably hungry.
It's not poop time.
It will be after. Well, when you hear what I'm getting ready to eat, I don't know what that means. Getting ready to eat a big old bowl of poop. It's gonna make me poop some more.
No. That's melting peanut butter. Sorry.
Oh. It looks like a fried egg that's all yolk.
Real shit talk here.
All right. So how about we do this? Okay. I want to ask Guthook one more question, and then Daniel has.
And then I should probably go because it's. My God, it's so far past my bedtime right now.
It's 8:30, but with the time change,
Tiger midnight.
Yeah,
it's been dark for hours.
All right, so this is gonna be a quickie then. Guthook, what do you wish you knew before your first long distance hike?
Ooh, okay, that is a good one. What do I wish I knew? Anything that like. If there's a dude that is like holding court and telling you all about the AT when you're about to start it, don't listen to him. There you go. Actually, that's probably like a little too specific. If there's someone who's telling all about how the AT is going to be and like, how you got to do it this way, you got to do it this way, don't listen to them. If your friend like through hike last year, listen to them a little bit, but like, just don't go in with any expectations of things.
This sounds like it might be related to an actual experience that happened to you. Did someone give you some advice that maybe you shouldn't have followed, or is this just in general?
I think it's such a strong urge for anyone who has through hike path, myself included, to be like, oh, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to go to this place. Like, don't miss this place. But it's different for everybody. And like, if you start like thinking that like, okay. So when I through hiked the AT, I passed by Catawba on one of the days that the home place was closed. And I was like, regretted it for years. Cause I was like, I missed the home place. I was supposed to go there. I went there a few times later because some of my friends, best friends, live in Roanoke now. And I've been there a few times, here and there. I was like, awesome. But you shouldn't like, you don't want to regret missing something that's supposed to be really awesome. Because chances are you've had those just as awesome experiences that maybe that person who told you that this other thing was unmissable, that they had at this one place. So
it sounds like what you're getting at is just coming back around to that old thing that we've heard a million times, is hike your own hike, right?
Yeah, but then there is a really good post on Andrew Skirka's about how your own hike is not exactly 100% correct. Like, do it correctly so that you're not screwing up other people's hikes or getting yourself in danger. damaging the trail experience. But otherwise, hike your own hike.
Perfect.
I like that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic advice for, both the new hikers and people who have been doing this for a really long time. And as always, trail advice translates to good life advice too.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest digging cat holes at all in town.
No. That didn't just wipe your hands on your pants. Just
see, we're back. Yeah, we're back to the poop talk. It's happening.
Well, wait, I'm not wiping. I'm wiping food on my pants, not poop on my. See, you're the one squatting over a cat hole right now.
That is like one of the things that like they go into very strong at the end of the course. It's like, hey, remember, you just spent like a month living out of your backpack. Remember how the rest of the world is. Like, you don't need as much junk as people tend to think.
Remember, when you're washing your armpits in a public restroom, people might look at you funny.
Yeah. But you know what? They're the ones that are funny, not you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally normal to be washing your armpits in a restroom.
You normal armpit in the shower washing types, get out of here with your simple ways.
I actually probably do have to go now because otherwise I might starve to death.
Well, it's perfect timing because the next words out of my mouth were about to be, this has been a lot of fun and thank you so much for joining us.
I think whoever asked about like trying to keep us on topic, you're welcome.
I think we did a
pretty good job.
Yeah.
Oh, hey Larry.
Hey, one thing before you sign off, if people want to know more about you or your apps, where should they go?
Oh yeah, go to atlasguides.com. That's the name of our company.
Okay.
Check it out.
Yeah. Yeah, do that.
You can find our contact info there too.
Yeah,
we're actual people answering the emails.
This guy's legit. I'll vouch for him. He knows what he's doing.
I know how to talk poop. I'm a real hiker.
Perfect timing. Okay.
That's verified.
Cool. Well, hey, with that, I hope you have a lovely dinner this evening. It's been great catching up with you and hanging out. And
thanks a lot.
Yeah, and Crazy Larry, thanks for jumping in here and keeping things interesting back at the beginning. Thanks again.
Thank you to everyone who put questions into the chat on Discord and also onto Reddit, even if the Redditors aren't listening to us. Thank you anyways.
Yeah, this is we had a good sized crowd tonight. The more the merrier, and this thing keeps getting bigger every time. And
yikes.
Yeah, I love seeing this happen. This is so much fun. This is Stories from the Trail. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight, guys.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Thank you, man. I'm glad I saw that.
Yep.
All right.
So we're gonna keep doing this from time to time. So keep an eye out on either our patreon.com/Stories from the Trail, or our Facebook group. Just find Stories from the Trail on Facebook. We'll be putting up links to the Discord as we have new guests coming. Next week, I think we're going to be talking to Black-a-Lachin or Black-a-Lachin, depending on where you're from and how you say things. Check that guy out. He's got a lot of interesting things to say. We're going to talk to him, I think, next week. Cool. We'll put the announcements on our Facebook page. Again, thank you, everybody, for joining. This has been fun.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck.
Have a good
I
night.
gotta get out of this thing. Guess I'll just exit out.
Oh, jeez. Crazy Larry is he?
I guess I'm not out of it.
Crazy
Hell,
Larry,
I X that damn thing out.
You are the number 12 blinking on the VCR clock of life, my friend.
Yeah, I guess so, man.
Stories from the Trail is a production of thetrek.co. Zach Davis, editor-in-chief. Your hosts are me, Gary Sizer, a.k.a. Green Giant, and Megan Thompson, a.k.a. Voldemort.
I'm sorry. Let's see. How do I get out of this thing?
Our music is by Lee Rosevere.
Or do I just disconnect from the microphone? No. Or I go to settings.
Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review wherever you download the show.
I just did. Hell, you're still on there.
And of course, please consider supporting the show by visiting patreon.com/storiesfromthetrail.
Yeah, that's a trip. Where how the hell did I do that? Yeah.
The show is recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Gary Sizer, here at Blanket Fort Studios, which is just me in my basement with a blanket over my head. Thanks for listening.
We'll figure it out, I guess.